I'm gonna cover this real fast. Yesterday, we took a look at the patch notes for the upcoming Red Paladin changes. Speaking about blow button, stacking modifiers, survivability, maneuverability, utility, and a lot of you guys, including my friends, even McConnell, they wanted me to write something on the forum because videos kind of don't reach to them, right? Or maybe it does, because when I spoke with Chris Kaleki or Halenka, they did talk about watching my videos, right? And maybe they watched it, maybe it got across, and they're finally doing this. So I wrote something maybe they could find helpful or useful. It's a long... I wrote an essay, chat. Okay, the thing is, I don't know if I should write this whole thing down, or if I should just put in defense. And then should I just write Sacred Shield, EP 1 minute? Do I just do that, like simplified, or is it better to give them the whole scoop? I want them to realize I've been playing Red for a very long time and I understand how this class works. And you guys see my content. For 3 years, I advocated against the one-shot burst. I wanted something else. I feel like one-shot's stupid. As well as the big heals, right? Anyways, let's read over this. They don't play this game. They definitely haven't played long as I have. I'm gonna go ahead and read this, okay? Greetings, fellow WoW players and dev. This is a rough draft, by the way. If I need to fix anything, let me know. First off, I'd like to thank the WoW team for doing an amazing job with the new expansion. Been loving the frequent patch notes as well as the communication we've been getting from you guys. As a longtime player, this is awesome to see. Very awesome to see. I'm not even kidding. Dragonflight, they've been doing a good job, chat. My name is Savix. I've been playing WoW for 16 years. Been creating content for a very long time, especially as a Retribution Paladin. Going forward, maybe I could toss a few ideas and maybe you guys can find some helpful. I made 2 videos previously talking about our class. I know it can be busy up there. If you guys prefer listening to the video, I'll post them down below. I try my best to make them short as possible. However, if you guys prefer reading, I'll go ahead and start typing. So this is the first video that I made, if you guys are wondering. This video. The PowerPoint I made for Blizzard before Dragonflight came out, right? So that one's that. And the other one is me reacting to the buffs. 10.0 buffs. That one. And then showing like the one shot, showing how our defensive, you pop Shield of Vengeance, it pops right away, you end up having to bubble. So I'll put that on the side. I did write a little note here if they want to read it. As for text, I'll start by mobility. Retribution Paladin had a huge toolkit to never be slowed or rooted. However, this all changed going forward to Legion. Legion Retribution Paladin concept idea was to make the class fantasy glow more, or stand out more, I guess. And we were giving Divine Steed, the Horsey, and the talent. The trade-off was to lose Clemency, double freedom, Emancipate, removing slows, Long Arm of the Law, 45% movement speed for 3 seconds, or Pursuit of Justice, increased movement speed by 15%, and 5% more for every holy power we had. So we lost about a good chunk of our mobility just for 1 steed. And I can see why they did that. It's getting on a steed combat, it sounds cool, right? So you can already see where this is going. I think the concept of being on a mount in combat sounded really awesome. However, the delivery was not ideal for this trade-off. Divine Steed is just a big meme. The most simple change you guys can make is to either take away Divine Steed and give us some of the mobilities back that we had from WoD, or this takes a bit more work, so it's less likely to happen, but revisit and revamp the Divine Steed. Take inspirations from Diablo 3, maybe they have some insane steed, or give us Terillian. Like I said, this is unlikely to happen, but if they want to go for it, give us Terillian's Might, something we had in Legion Alpha, a skill that mimicked Heroes of the Storm Tyrael Q ability where we throw a sword and we could teleport to the sword. We had this in Legion Alpha, but they removed it. It got scrapped for some reason. And here are the highlights of what maybe they could add in. So I wrote them all there. And buffs or auras. I think this is the key to make Retribution Paladins useful again in the scene of raiding or any party activities. Yes, we have utilities to support players such as Bop, Sack, Lay of Hand, Off Heals, Cleanse, Battle Res, etc., right? However, none of these abilities really stand out. It doesn't really give a good reason for players to bring a red along in their group. I believe we need a more prominent ability that makes us stand out so that players have a good reason to bring this class. Kind of like the old WoW days, auras and buffs were a huge part of reasoning to bring a Paladin, right? Whether it be a stat buff or resistant aura, etc. Even with big damage buff in the PvE scene, reds are still frowned upon for invitation. Bringing back meaningful buffs or auras will help us stand out, in my opinion. I like to request that we get separate GCDs on our auras as well, like warrior stances, so we can dance around the auras, adding a bit more skill cap to the class. Honestly speaking, chat, we have Devotion Aura. When we pop Devotion Aura, instead of it being just a passive aura, it would be cool if it had like a minute cooldown or 2 minute. And if I press that aura, it gives everyone a shield for like 5 seconds or something. And then when I press Crusader Aura, it makes the whole team get on a steed for like 2 to 3 seconds. I think that would be really cool instead of like passive 20% movement on Horsey or just flat out percentage of defensive, right? I think that'd be really cool, man. Alright, the button below, next topic, chat. Honestly, this is a controversial topic. Back when I was younger, I had an ego and I wanted more buttons, as well as saying having more buttons equals good and skillful. However, I played many other MMOs and I've learned that there should be a sweet spot for numbers of buttons to press. I think Demon Hunters and Evokers have a fantastic rotation in the newer classes. It feels new. They don't have much buttons, but most of the abilities feel meaningful to press. It really does feel good to play a Demon Hunter or Evoker. They're the newer classes, right? I think the design around it is good. Some of the old classes, they're kind of outdated. I think I wrote down here somewhere, Enhanced needs some love. That's the end you want to go for. I honestly don't mind any of the rotation buttons at this moment, except for Crusader Strike or Exorcism, and ability you guys are kind of pushing us to use. It feels unfun to press and wasteful. Same with Consecration. It should be spiced up a little bit more. Maybe even make it follow us if we talent into it, or even take an inspiration from other Blizzard games. Again, Joanna is a perfect example from Heroes of the Storm. Her ability pulls players to her. It's called Condemn. I don't know if you guys played HOTS, but again, these are just ideas I'm throwing. Something easy to digest for you guys without me having to write essays on how the ability works. You guys have a lot of cool options. Just remember, I think the importance here is each button you press feels meaningful. Honestly, this applies for all class. I hope Enhanced Shamans can get some love in the future as well. They've been suffering. They're on the suffering list for sure, right, chat? I think Enhanced has been similar to Red. It's either they one-shot or they do big heal or they do nothing. It's such a silly design. Alright, we're almost done, chat. Lastly, defensive. Meaning of plate is just gone now. Plate, leather, cloth, these used to matter back in the day, right, chat? You guys kind of drifted away from the meaning of them. However, personally, I don't really mind anymore. Like, who cares, okay? Along with many expansions, maybe you guys had a different POV. Maybe they had a different POV, right? The reason for Retribution Paladins having the lowest survivability rate... I know this sounds crazy, especially to a non-red player, but the insane heals and bubble, as people say, are not good as they think. I also like to clarify that we should never have healing like we did in Shadowland. Water Glory was absurd, chat. It was too big, too much healing. Almost every hybrid class in Shadowland though, they healed way too much. And I'm just specifying here, I don't want any hybrids or even DPS class. They should not be healing much as healers do. It doesn't feel right, it's wrong, unless it's a big cooldown, of course. Going back on track, Divine Shield. It just aged awfully. In its glory days of Classic, it felt meaningful as a big shield will protect you from anything. But it came with a large cooldown, which made sense in my opinion. Even Recklessness, Warrior, it was a big cooldown. Rebirth, Druid, it was a big cooldown. I believe this was like 30 minutes each, right? A very impactful ability with big cooldown. However, along the line of the expansions, some of these abilities I've mentioned, they changed. And it got even a shorter cooldown, which are arguably good. I think it's really good. But some turbo nerds will disagree, right? Because Recklessness used to do more. Anywho, Divine Shield didn't change. It stayed 5 minutes because the shield was too strong. But in the newer expansion, it doesn't make sense. Either they need to make it shorter in cooldown and shorten the Divine Shield length from 8 seconds to 4 seconds, or they just need to flat out give us a proper defensive. However, I do believe you guys, the WoW devs, want to stick with the traditional Divine Shield bubble ability for Paladins. I think they want to keep it that way because it's been in the game since like Warcraft 3, Uther had his bubble, etc., right? The current Divine Shield being on a 5-minute cooldown is too long, and in PvP it's even worse. If you fight against a warrior or priest, rest in peace. Priests can literally dispel Divine Shield in a blink of an eye. It's so fast now with the talent. Considering every burst is 45 seconds to 1 minute, big cooldowns are 2 to 3 minutes, right? It never adds up in trade. You guys get the math here, chat? When a RMP sets up, it's always 1 to 2 minute goes, right? And bubbles a 5 minute. If I lose 5 minutes, the next go they do, it just doesn't add up. Also, for people wondering about Shield of Vengeance, which is our second defensive, the ability lost its touch. Going from WoD to Legion again, they took away Divine Protection, which used to be a 1 minute cooldown with a 20% damage flat reduction, right? And they changed it to Shield of Vengeance, which we're going to call SOV. At first, SOV was insane. In fact, if you press SOV, an enemy was bursting to you, they would hop off the Red Paladin instantly. Because if they bursted into it, they would die. It acted like the ability Thorns. Though, after Season 1, it was nerfed. It got nerfed to the ground because players kept zug bursting into them and they die, right? And now after the nerf, it doesn't matter if you hit into it or not. I don't know anyone in PvP, when I pop Shield of Vengeance, they never get off me. They're just on me. It doesn't do anything, man. Now it just acts like a shield. I don't know anyone who goes off at the red when they use SOV. If you watch the video I posted up there, you can witness many things up there. Okay, I actually have it on the side, so I'm going to show you guys real fast. They're bursting. I see them popping cooldown. I pop Shield of Vengeance here. Ready? Shield of Vengeance is used. It's an absorb. And I'm just dead the next. What, dude? It's so silly, man. There's so many cases. I showed in my other video too here, but I press Shield of Vengeance when they pop burst. But right after 1 to 2 hit, I end up having to press bubble anyway. It's like, dude, what is this defensive cooldown? It doesn't make any sense. Right? It's just a really bad design. Back in Legion, like, people got off of us because Shield of Vengeance would reflect the damage and pop on them. But since the pop damage was nerfed, nobody really cares. They go through it in 1 to 2 hits and I end up having to bubble. Now they have the biggest kill potential with their next 45 second to 1 minute ability. This is basically what I covered before I talked about this. Get bubble, next burst, they die. Now in Dragonflight, we just got the change from SOV to Divine Protection. Now we have the choice to change from Shield of Vengeance or Divine Protection. But for some reason, they brought Divine Protection back as a 2 minute cooldown. It used to be a 1 minute cooldown, but they made it a 2 minute cooldown. But if we talent into it, it could be 1.4. 1 minute 40 seconds, basically. But Shield of Vengeance, they reduced it to 1 minute now with the talent. I don't know what they're doing here. But they said they will revisit and fix things, so hopefully they do the right thing. Like I said, it doesn't add up. As you guys stated, Retribution Paladins have one of the highest death counts in PvE or PvP. It says it all there. Also, we haven't seen a red in AWC for many years now. It's not a rewarding class, and it's just annoying how we get balanced or slapped a band-aid. You guys give us big burst to make us viable, and every player hate us. Every player hates our class. Because it's only viable when we have big damage, right? We don't really bring a lot to the table. It's been on a repeated cycle, and I've made content for 3 years explaining why these are bad buffs you guys feed us. And we're here now. I'm thankful you guys are trying to make this class work and understand its problems. Hopefully this message gets across. If anyone's reading this far, you guys have a better understanding. Did I write everything correct here? I was fried. By the time I wrote here, chat, I was fried. I think I go on a tangent here a little bit, but that's the best I can do. I don't want to rewrite this thing. Oh, man. Devs reading. Devs are going to read, okay? Consider adding Sacred Shield for D. instead of buffing our heals like Wog. I think having Sacred Shield will be much better than Word of Glory. I think people hate it when Red Paladins just heal full with Word of Glory. I think having like a tiny shield, that's not bad, right, chat? I don't think people would get mad at that. And then I put some honorable mention abilities that you guys can maybe bring back if they need more information. I put Burden of Guilt, Unbreakable Will, Endless Resolve, Sacred Shield. Also, I like to mention Cleanse Toxin. It should make us immune to poison for at least 2 seconds. Because versus a rogue, whenever... I'll just read it. If you Cleanse Toxin against a rogue, you get instantly poisoned again. I don't get the point of using this. It feels like a waste of GCD. Does not feel good to press against rogue. It does not, chat. One last note for the people saying Reds are not the slowest class. DK, on the other hand, they're slow too. I understand they're slow brothers. However, they can slow the whole world versus them. And they can instantly gap close by gripping players, right? They could grip, blind slate, stun, can't be kited. As a Red, again in Legion, they took away our slow and gave us Hand of Hindrance, a 30-second slow. So we have one slow that can be cleansed on a 30-second cooldown. I don't understand why in Legion they took away so much of our things. Reds don't have a gap closer or kiting abilities. A walking glass cannon is miserable. It really is. I wanted to write here. Some of the classes that are squishy, they usually have a lot of mobility where they could just get away, right? But I understand that they don't want to make like Reds. I think they specified here saying they don't want to make it like rogues. I don't want it like rogues, right? I just want the stuff we had back in the past. I want what they trade off Seed for Double Freedom, Emancipate, etc., right? That's what I want. I don't want to be like a rogue, chat. I don't want to be like a Windwalker. Just give us what we had back. Or if they want to make it fun, add the abilities like Terillian Might. That would be really cool. Anyways, how was this, chat? This was not bad, right? I think I covered everything pretty well. And I try to give it a little backup information as well. Thank you for your TED Talk. Honestly, chat, none of my Red friends like want to write these things. I was like, dude, I feel like I'm the last Red Paladin standing, trying to fight for what's right. Cause you are. Oh my god. Listen, chat, we made solo queue happen. We will make this happen. Red Motorstrike, honestly speaking, I would love to ask for Crusader Strike to have a Motorstrike effect, but I don't think they want to do that, and I don't want to like force it. But I will say this, recently they've been giving every class a Motorstrike. Hunters have it, Warlocks have it, Demon Hunters got it for some reason. Yeah, I feel like every class has one now, and in Arena, Motorstrike is very, very important. Like, way too important. Enhance doesn't. That is exactly why I wrote in here. I hope Enhance Shaman can get some love in future as well. Like I said, for the people that are tuning in, I don't want to repeat myself here, but I understand like what classes that get love and not get loved, right? Alright, gentlemen, I'm going to share this post. If you guys could help it bump so that it reaches out to Blizzard, that would be awesome. I'm gonna send it to you guys right here. I've made short videos for them to react to. I don't know if it ever gets approached, like I said, so maybe this is the only way, chat. They said they do read forums, so I'm gonna post it here. This is our final stand. What happens will echo through the ages. This is for the future of the Red Paladins. That was a lot, gentlemen. Thank you for being here and understanding. It's been a journey for the Red Paladins. This could be our final redemption, chat.
I'm not reading that.
I'm not watching this.
Is that like some Red Paladin copium or something? Oh, Savix wrote that. Oh god. So it is Red Paladin copium.
Listen, Guzu's a classic anti-chat. He wouldn't understand anything, okay? Please link that for me, King Mel. You need to bring this back. It's too long, man. Ladies and gentlemen, Guzu get into a stun here. Trent with the big I-beam. Blasting Guzu. Guzu already popping his defensive evasion coming through here. Late dance as well. Trent just all over Guzu. In capping him as well to buy some time. Evasion is now fading away here. Guzu's trying to get the re-stealth or trying to just run away. Not sure what he's doing here. He goes for the cheap shot. Should have went for a kidney shot instead here. A demon form coming in with the big Chaos Nova. Guzu taking so much damage here, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not sure he's going to survive here. There comes a blind on Trent, but Trent getting blind. Absolutely demolishing Guzu in town. Goes Guzu. Didn't even hit 1 HP. Didn't use Vendetta or Cloak. Oh my goodness, ladies and gentlemen, what is going on here? Alright, round 2. Ladies and gentlemen, Guzu, the classic WoW Warlord. Best gamer in the universe, of course. Rogue, one of the best dueling classes. Not even camping on a fat stack, as the kids would say. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Bam. The arena starts. Guzu stealthing like a cheetah. Hunting his prey. Gets the shadow step. Cheap shot. Holy moly. Crazy out of his mind. There's stun. Trinkets it immediately here. Guzu cutting away. Sipping on his little sippy potion. Hopping evasion. And there's the cage from Trent, just buying time for the evasion to run out. Stepping away. There's a big demon form. Big damage coming through. Cloak of Shadow is being used. Guzu trying to cut away here. He needs to use Vendetta though. There's no kidney shot. He cheap shots again instead of kidney shot. I'm not sure what's going on here. Guzu in a stun. And getting absolutely demolished and getting railed by Paladin, God, X, and Trent. Takes the win. Ladies and gentlemen, this is why Guzu will not read my forum posts, because he cannot understand.
No.